Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night, depending on your time zone. Hi, I'm Charlie Smith.
And I'm Allyn Aston, and welcome to the Britney Army Barracks. Okay, I have questions off the record before we start, if that's okay. I know that you identify as a gender fluid person, and I'm a person who likes to be like, girl, boy, whatever. What would be a term I could use for you that you like?
In theory, for me as an individual, whatever... truly and literally whatever pops out of your mouth is I like to be interpreted. So if you're like, girl, I'm like, yes.
Okay, so that wouldn't bother you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think if somebody gun to my head was like, no, you have to pick one, I guess I would pick dude. Me and Nancy, my best friend, we use dude. But I love a good girl. That doesn't bother me at all.
Because the funny thing is, I do that to people of every gender. I call everybody girl. But if I thought it was a point of sensitivity, I wouldn't want to do it. So.
No, of course. I think so. I'm the reverse, and I call everybody dude. And I have some female, trans women that are in my life that I have to keep in mind.
Yep.
They don't like that. But generally speaking, I think dude is very gender fluid, but I've definitely known effeminate identifying people that are like, no, that's not gender fluid. I'm like, okay, sorry.
Gotcha. I feel the same way about dude. I feel like that's for everybody. Yeah. So, okay.
But
I just wanted to ask.
I feel like it's in conversation. I just so genuinely mean it that I love to be I love to see how other people interpret me. I'm not precious about it. Same with pronouns. I use all pronouns. I think it's very cool when cisgender women make a point to use they, them for me, because I feel like it's the same thing as if you provide she, her pronouns, you're making a point to try to break a stigma. So I'm all for it if people want to use that pronoun for me, but I genuinely don't care.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Because I'm really conscious of that stuff, and I just would never, but I also know myself, and I'll be the first one to be like, girl, to my husband, who is in no way
yeah, right.
identifying as a woman. He's very masculine.
Yeah,
so
Ethan is similarly. And even when you and I started becoming cool, I think one of the things that made me sort of fast track our friendship, so to speak, was how you responded to House and Habit being wildly transphobic to me. Or about me. I guess I shouldn't say to me, because she didn't message me. She just messaged someone about you and randomly threw me in there too. And, whatever. It's tough being famous.
Yeah, right.
Tell me your thoughts over this afternoon's news.
All right, we're going straight into TMZ announcing that Britney Spears and Sam Asghari have allegedly split. They are claiming that Britney Spears has cheated on Sam Asghari.
They called it a nuclear argument. They said the argument got nuclear. Not really sure how Britney would have even cheated. When? She doesn't leave her fucking house ever.
I mean, unless she's literally in Cabo, we do not see her out. So when exactly is she off cheating? And all those trips Sam is on except one.
And not for nothing, what I find so funny is how many people have sent me messages of pictures of Sam with some woman this is his real girlfriend, and people claim that his sisters aren't his sisters, they're his lovers, and Sam has been questionable throughout this whole thing, but then all of a sudden Britney cheated. And it's just why is the narrative always back to Britney's the bad guy every time?
Because TMZ, that is what they're pushing all the time. And they are in the back pockets of people who don't want to see Britney doing well ever. So listen, there is a part of me, I actually believe the divorce rumor part of this. I think this has been building for a long time. I don't believe the cheating allegations part, because to me it just seems fucking impossible that she could even get access to another person. I mean, it took Lance Bass a year and a half to get a meeting with her. He couldn't reach her on the phone. He couldn't get her to meet his children until they needed it for a press moment. And you're telling me Britney Spears is running around cheating?
Even the Lance Bass meetup in general, it didn't really feel like she could even see Lance without Sam's supervision. So now he's going to dump her for cheating? Do you know what I mean? It felt like she can't even see her friend without Sam intervening. So I just find it very hard to believe. Wasn't it a fucking month ago that there were reports that they were going to get divorced and Sam shot them down?
Yeah.
That part I find a little confusing, that they've been that's the tabloids being crazy. And then it's wait, if they're really divorcing, why did they even comment?
This is where you're going to get me into being on territory. This is where I'm going to fully step in.
I'm buckled in. Okay.
So I want to preface this by saying I don't think anything that I think is a possibility is a fact. I do think that what I'm about to explore would be a worst case scenario. And it's something that...
Theory.
Yes, a theory. What I think would be the worst case scenario, something that's been weighing on me since literally January. They started planting these seeds in January of this abusive relationship between the two of them. And then they backed off for some reason. The same exact month that they were like, oh, and we can't publish the book now. It's a paper shortage. Same month.
Wait, when was that? That was February?
January 2023. Sorry.
Really? I thought the paper shortage was farther back than that. But that actually tracks. Okay.
Well, maybe I'm
wrong.
wrong.
I don't know.
I thought it was.
I thought the paper thing was like last October. Like it was like really. I was like, what? Like they were like, we're doing a book, and then like immediately they were like, never mind, we're out of paper. And it was like, what the fuck? And since then, Paris Hilton's book has come out. Like, children have gone to school and written on paper. I have had paper at work.
Sorry, I am wrong. It was July of 2022. So
okay.
That was me being inaccurate. But the point I was going to make
gotcha.
is that like it was during the time when we were all wondering where she was. They were starting to tease this divorce and saying like Sam's had enough. They started dropping the things about the physical altercation many, many months ago. And then suddenly it just went quiet. Sam went away to film something, and then he came back and suddenly divorce rumors are out again. And then they went away again. And now we're back for a third time. And every time this has happened, it's been my greatest fear that they were going to use this divorce, because even in TMZ's articles about it early on, they were saying things like, well, Britney can't be alone. She is unable to be alone. She won't do well. Things will get really bad and all this other stuff. And I've been really concerned that they're trying to use this story to set up Britney going fully off the rails and maybe even getting into a hurt herself situation. That's my biggest fear.
I definitely don't think you're alone in that fear. I mean, a lot of people, that tracks, so to speak. The one thing I will say, I got really, really invested into watching Britney, I think for the same reason you did, which was the glitches. Like, looking at her Instagram content just started to really fuck me up. Mm-hmm. And at one point, I was theorizing something about they're making it look sloppy because whatever the thought was. And the person I was talking to, and I actually don't even think it was a Britney person. I think it was just a person in my life. They were just like, but what if it's sloppy because it's sloppy? Mm-hmm. Like, what if it's sloppy because they don't have any footage that she will cooperate with? So in this instance, it would be more like, I don't know that they're painting a narrative. I think the marriage is actually collapsing. Like, if they wanted to make it look like she was going to hurt herself, they would just do it, sort of a thing. Like, I don't think they would drag it out so much.
Well, let me ask you this, because I was saying, I think they've been setting this up for quite a few months. And do you agree with that this has been coming and they've been planting stories and then kind of taking it back and then planting stories and then taking it back?
I think I would have to split hairs on your phrasing, though, like by saying planting. Like, so this is the way I always do it. And I feel like, you and I both do the same thing. Like, okay, we have to look at this from 3 fucking views. Yeah. Is Britney free? Is Britney not free? And if she's not free, to what degree is she not free, right? So, like, to say planting a story would be to imply Britney doesn't have control over her life right now. We haven't been hearing from her on Instagram, and other people are operating as if she's going about
that's
it.
Actually not what I mean, though. I'm speaking specifically to TMZ and how they have been breaking this news over and over. And in my opinion, anything that TMZ gets is planted from someone who doesn't like Britney or doesn't want the best for her, because they never come from a positive angle toward her.
Yes. So I guess that's where I think I'm getting hung up on the theory itself, because if somebody like I'm going to use an example because I don't like this person, not because I think this is actually who did it. I don't like Vicky T, right? I don't fucking like her. If let's say Vicky T is planting stories with TMZ, right? Vicky isn't doing that with the intent or a goal of making it look like she can't take care of herself so she can get back into conservatorship or anything, or hurt herself or anything like that. She's just doing it to be a petty cunt and make Britney look bad. Like, that's like the reason that people are going after Britney in this way, unless we're talking about literally CAA, right? Like, unless we're talking about her managers and her handlers, so to speak.
Well, I'll tell you, my opinion is that the source is Arcade and Sam to TMZ. That's my opinion.
I mean, I think it's Sam. I think it's definitely Sam at the very least. You know what I mean? Like, Sam is telling his side of it. But even the Cade aspect of it, like maybe, but like, so again, let's go with the hypothetical that Cade is actually on Britney's side and that he like gives a shit about her to any degree, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't, like, if she's splitting up with Sam, why would Cade help Sam with his narrative? He's not Sam's manager. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I don't think he gives a shit about Britney. I think he sees it as a paycheck. So that's hard for me to imagine.
I don't either. I agree with you. But I don't see why Sam and Cade would go into cahoots to make it look like she hurt herself. This is actually not the first time I've even heard somebody be like, they're setting it up to make it look like she, like that. Yeah. I agree with you. It has looked like that since January because I heard that theory before you and I met.
Yeah,
and
I
also don't mean that as in like, Allyn, that's an old theory. I don't mean it like that because the way that you're putting it together, yeah, I mean, like it does kind of look like that. I also think it could look like that because Britney is trying to get like a handle on her life and it doesn't look like a neat little bow. So TMZ is just going to fucking do whatever they want and make it look however they want. Do you know what I mean? Like they sort of painted Amy Winehouse out to be the same way.
Oh, they absolutely did.
So that's a great example then. I don't think that anybody sat down in a meeting and you're like, okay, so what are we going to do today to push Amy over the edge? All right, do this, do that, and then she's going to kill herself and we're going to sell so many papers. Like, nobody did that. They just literally were like, okay, we got to get those pictures. Oh, she's doing bad? Is she relapsing? All right, get those cameras. It's not about Amy. It's not about her problems. It's not about any narrative. It's about jumping on the story so that they can exploit it. So I agree with you in that they're exploiting Britney and they're exploiting what she's going through right now. I personally don't believe they're being as intentional as we are all worried they are.
I think not.
I think they are doing what you're saying. I agree with that. I think they are painting it this way. They're controlling the narratives in that way. The only little areola, what the fuck? The only
Sorry.
Excuse me. The only area.
It was just a little nipple slip.
Just a little nipple slip. The only area where I would split hairs, nipple hair, would be I don't think they are that polished. I don't think they have that much control. I don't think they have that much forethought. I think, and this I'm speaking to a very broad topic. Power structures keep their power by making us think they have so much more power than they actually have. So like by us assuming that TMZ has that kind of control over Britney's life, the narratives, all that shit, it kind of takes away her ability to be a human being at that point. And I'm not saying you and us theorizing. I'm saying them and what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like making it this fucking literal circus. They made a song about it. You know what I mean? Like what I think is more intentional, even more intentional than what you're talking about, goes back so much fucking further. Think back to the fucking songs she was producing on her second album. Crazy, she's singing Crazy over it again. Then Womanizer comes out. She says, you call me crazy, you think I'm crazy. Yeah. She's constantly talking about being crazy. Even before it was even an issue. Lucky, the song Lucky was on her second fucking album, dude. And she described everything that was going to fucking happen. And I remember watching interviews and people were like, but does this song like speak to you? And she was like, it's just a character. And like, she believed that. Like, I think she really kind of believed that. And so I think that the same way that I look at that, I look at her discography. Is that how you say it? Because you've been helping me say it. The same way that you can look at that and say, hey, they've been intentionally doing this from the very beginning. And that could be true. But that's also giving them, big quotes on them,
right.
a lot of credit and a lot of power that they might not have. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do, but can I tell you something that you don't know? I think,
yeah, please.
Because this happened on a couple of friends of mine were live, and they had somebody come on who used to work for TMZ. I wasn't there, but they did send me the video clip after. And I mean, he's like verified. He used to work for TMZ. And he said to them, you know, it's really nice what you're all doing, but the narrative with Britney is the narrative. Like, it's preset. It's exactly what they've already decided is going to be said and done is going to be said and done. So it does seem to me like regardless of whether you think TMZ has power over Britney's truth or not, they do seem to have a predetermined narrative that they've been pushing and is not going to change
Actually, I have heard that. There's I forget her fucking name, but there's another girl who's wild. She's fucking cool. She's on TikTok. But she says biatch a lot. She's blonde. K-Day. I think her name's K-Day.
Oh, K-Day.
But she's,
yeah.
I love that bitch.
Yeah, she
but,
used to work for TMZ
she used
also.
to work for TMZ too, yeah. I don't mean to say that TMZ is not powerful. What I mean to say is I think Britney is living her life. And they're going to report it however the fuck they report it. I don't think they've been planting stories about a divorce. I think Britney has been heading for a divorce. Do you know what I mean? Like that is what I guess I mean by it is like Britney's living her life and they're reporting it however the fuck they report it. I don't think TMZ is necessarily in control of Britney. You know what I mean? Like, and I guess that's more what
I don't think that they are either. And I wasn't trying to argue that. What I was arguing is that the sources that are going to TMZ are telling these stories for a specific reason. Sam went on a Instagram break like 2 weeks ago. Before all this, he said, I'm taking a social media break. And he blamed some accident that his mother got in. But then that whole story was a little sketchy and I don't know what to make of it. But he's been off social media for 2 weeks before this story dropped. And what happened last week? Britney Spears' boys were moved away to Hawaii. Do you want to know something that's really interesting and special about Hawaii? They have very strict paparazzi laws there. They got made because of Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. He got together with local law enforcement and got them to have stricter rules there so that people could go vacation there and not be hounded. And I do find it really fucking interesting that the week before this news drops, where things seem like they're going to get really critical for Britney, and it may be about to be a big spiral, possibly, I hope not, but it may be, that they are now moved away and protected from the paparazzi. Because if something were to happen to Britney and they were all still in LA, they could not step foot out of their fucking door without being hounded, right? And now they are in this protective bubble. I just find the timing interesting. It doesn't have to mean something, but it does add to my anxiety.
I do think that's why they moved the boys. I do believe that. I think they moved the boys because as soon as they turn 18, I think the shred of respect that the public has had for the boys is going out the fucking window.
That's true.
And I do think that they probably moved there to protect them. I get really frustrated by the idea that people say K-Fed moved them there for the financial incentives. Because that's not how child support works. I've been looking it up a lot. And first of all, it goes by the paying parent, not just like you can't just fucking move and have shit change. And second of all, similarly, the lawyer, I don't feel like we should be blaming Kevin for things before Kevin has done it. You know what I mean? Like if he does that, if he goes to court, then of course we can all sit there and be like, what a piece of shit. But like, that's not happening right now. So like there's more shit than like just assuming Kevin's going to do the worst thing possible, although he probably will. But
yeah, but he himself is the one who went to Daphne Barracks and said, Britney Spears is on meth and we're worried all the time that we're going to get a call that she's dead. He did later try to retract it, but Daphne says, I have all the receipts of this. And I believe her because they were allegedly doing a documentary. So I feel that she has all of this documented with recordings. And so I don't believe him when he says I didn't say that, but we'll see because that documentary eventually will come, I'm sure.
Like, I think he and Daphne are still tight. Like,
I was exactly about to say that he just backtracked when the heat got too hot and then he moved him away because I think he knows that shit's bad.
Yeah, I think he does too. And I mean, I've been kind of trying to like go through in my mind scenarios where, 2 years from now, we're all like, thank God Britney's okay. And I don't even know what that would look like. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to be negative. It's just like with everybody in her life just fucking her over constantly, like, what does that even look like at this point,
I agree. And now I'm even more sad. Like, I don't like Sam. I never have really cared for Sam, but he at least was company for her and a constant for her. And now he's allegedly moved out. Her boys are way across the ocean.
And
so
were you
what?
even
She's
gonna
left
say
with
too?
Cade?
He was saying taking a social media break, and then it was because of his mom's or whatever. But there's a bunch of fucking footage of him out partying with people, right? He was taking mad selfies with people. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? But Britney cheated.
That's why it's sketchy.
But Britney cheated, probably.
That's why it's sketchy, because he said he had this emergency with his mom, and then literally that next night, I think he was in fucking Vegas with his friends out partying and drinking, and they tagged him. I don't think they were supposed to. But then his mom and his sister were posting pictures of their drinks they were drinking. I'm like, this bitch did not just have surgery and is like drinking alcohol.
Yeah, right. That's fucking crazy.
That's why it's weird. And that's why I feel like this social media break, that was just an excuse. I think he knew this news was coming.
That, like I said, though, that's why it's so weird to me that they kept denying the divorce rumors at all. Like, I don't even know why he would address them if he knew that it was heading to this. You know what I mean? If it was like, well, we're not really sure. You know what I mean? I don't give a fuck what the narrative is as far as the public. Britney cheated. Great. Fine. Okay. You know what I mean? Like,
no. But I'll say this, for cheating, I think that probably would affect this prenup. I can't say for sure because every prenup is going to be different, but I would be shocked if there wasn't some kind of cheating clause in it.
I don't know. I don't think he gets anything if it's before 5 years, but maybe. I just would be really shocked if he gets dick all. And I hope not. And either way, he would have to prove that she cheated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he would have to really prove that. Like, he would either with, her admitting it or whatever, or pictures or something, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't think he can. I just don't think it's
Neither
true.
do I. I just found a new article. It's from page 6. It says, Sam Asghari threatening to release extraordinarily embarrassing Britney Spears info if prenup is not renegotiated.
Fucking hilarious. What a piece of shit. Yeah, I don't think things work like that. I don't think it works like that. Like, let him come out with whatever. It can't be worse than what fucking Taryn Manning said in her own car yesterday.
No.
Oh my God.
They said they're just saying that Sam is really unhappy with the prenup. Maybe because what you were saying is true and that he doesn't get anything if it's within 5 years.
How would you renegotiate a prenup at the point of divorce?
Well, my only thinking on how you might be able to do that is if you were able to come to the table with proof of something bad, like cheating or abuse or something like that. Maybe you'd be able to. I don't know. I'm not a fucking lawyer, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was going to say, I read here, any money she made before the wedding is protected, is what the source is saying. And that's really interesting because these projects that they've been pushing out that don't feel like they have her stamp of approval, they're not doing well. So maybe this is part of why they're splitting now. He was like, mind your business is failing. The book is like number 400 on the bestsellers list. It's not doing well. Maybe he thought that these things were going to pan out better than they did.
That's so funny. Wouldn't that be funny if he literally is just like, this isn't financially best for me. And he just like bails, like, good riddance.
I don't truly feel in my heart that Sam was ever truly there for Britney and loved her the way that they wanted to convince the world he loved her.
I have never had a problem with her relationship with Sam. What I have a problem with is making him out to be some sort of knight in shining armor. He didn't do shit to get her out of that fucking conservatorship. Nothing. He was posting and chilling with his sister when she was in the fucking place they forced her into. And he was saying things like, oh, I'm so proud of her for getting help, blah, 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 telling the paparazzi, oh, she's great. She's doing awesome. She's great. And it was just not true. He could have said no comment. If he flat out was like, I have no comment, it's Britney's business, like, we would at least be able to be like, okay, like, he couldn't say anything or they would have pushed him out. But he lied for them. He lied. He made the public think she was okay.
He absolutely did. And back then, I mean, people might not remember this now, but back then the general consensus amongst fans was, we love Sam. He's clearly in love with her. He's the best thing that's happened to her in a long time. We were all very positive about Sam at that time. So for him to lie to our face like that, and then also to find out later, he didn't even tell Britney Spears about Free Britney. She found out by fucking catching it on the news.
Like, what is that? That made my heart hurt so badly to know, like, the amount of hours and tears that I had spent really worried for Britney. You know what I mean? And I'm not alone in that. I know for a fact I'm not alone in that. I have a bunch of fucking people that are in this community with me that felt the exact same fucking way. And that she didn't even think we were thinking about it. Like, the fact that she just thought truly everyone believed, you know, the narratives and stuff is just like, oh my God. Like, I really hope that if she is free, you know, I don't give a fuck if she listens to us specifically, but I hope she knows, you know what I mean? Like, I hope she knows we're still fighting for her, and that, like, you know, and that there's not just like, you know, negative conspiracy theorists that are just shitting on her and stuff like that, but people who are literally rooting for her. and trying to get, see her get privacy and all that other good shit.
Yeah, I hope so too, because the idea that she's being kept from all that is really sad. Like, of course, I always say, like, I would be horrified to find out that things we were saying were offensive to her or hurt her feelings or whatever. But I think I'd be even more horrified to find out she had no idea that people were advocating for her at all.
Yeah, I really, really hope that's not the case. And I have to, for my own mental health, I have to assume she has access to Instagram. I think she does. And like I said, they referenced it in court, you know what I mean? Like, and not in a way that would be team con covering, so to speak, you know what I mean? Like Jamie's lawyers were like, well, she's on Instagram as part of the fucking Free Britney movement. Like, they did not seem happy about that. So I do sort of believe that. I think that she has at least some degree of access. What I find would be funny, not funny, haha, but once in a while I'll just get this thought in my head of like, wouldn't it be hilarious if she has like an anonymous account and she like, I've just had this visual in my head of her messaging me and trying to be like, no, you have this wrong. And me being like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about because I don't know it's her. I've thought about that so many times. And one thing I've honestly gotten like almost sick thinking about is if I ever interacted with her when I first started this movement, she probably would have blocked me. And that freaks me out. That I really hope I didn't turn her off before I got my bearings on how I wanted to approach this movement. Because I was very scared in the beginning, and I didn't think she was alive, and if she was, I thought she was chained in a basement somewhere, and I was operating under that assumption. And hypothetically, if that is the case, then who am I hurting by believing that, right? But if I'm fucking wrong, this woman just got her freedom, and I'm kind of like not allowing her to have a voice by assuming she's not using it, if that makes sense. Like, if she is out there talking it is her, how frustrated she must be as we're like, clearly this is an AI caption, and it's her like pouring her fucking heart out. Like, that freaks me out. I just really pray I haven't offended her in some way before I really started being more thoughtful about how I want to be conducting myself in the Britney movement as a whole. Part of why I backed off of it is because now this is not a theory I have, but again, just a hypothetical possibility. In theory, if there's deepfakes, we don't know Britney's not the one in charge of it. We don't know that. At one point, Britney was using doubles and not deepfakes, but doubles, by her own will. So, like, we don't know for a fact that that's like Cade Hudson doing something nefarious. So again, if Britney is trying to be on like the DL and she wants to fake us out, then like, why would we want to split hair, poke holes in it? Because if she wants it that way, then fine. And that was, again, like why I started to back off, because I started to just think a little more outside of the box of like, ugh, like what if she's the one doing this? You know what I mean? And to be honest, the editing, to your point, the editing is so shoddy. I think that's actually really likely. I mean, she's not a video editor, man. You know what I mean? Like, and if she's sitting there by herself with these footage, you know what I mean? She might just be like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, see what I could do with it. Like, we don't know for a fact that it's somebody, trying to be an imposter, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fear is valid,
Well, Britney fans, we have trust issues, period.
Yeah.
Because we were lied to for so long. Like, you cannot blame us at this point for not taking things at face value and for being worried when things don't seem right to us. And maybe we're not right about what's wrong, but we're still sensing it's not right.
But how gaslighting is it, too, to be like, oh, Britney fans, paranoia. It's like, just the fucking conservatorship alone was 13 years of bullshit, lies, surveillance, and abuse. They were using surveillance since 2010. That's now in court fucking documents. That's no longer like, oh, we wonder. That's part of the trial. And even going back before that, Britney was fucking lied to, exploited, and manipulated as a young child. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, fans of hers, true fans of hers, are absolutely right to be skeptical. And it's such an insult. Like, these fucking breathe heavy people. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're a breathe heavy person and you're listening, please don't shut off right now. But the breathe heavy level stands that are just like, yes, queen. Yes. If you don't support Britney, then fuck you. It's just like, dude, how in the fuck do you call yourself a fan? how do you call yourself a fan? Being like, this Will I Am song, the beat of the summer. It's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's just a little discouraging when I feel so lonely. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a being on person at all. I'm very far from it. But they make more sense to me than the fucking Breathe Heavy people. Almost always.
Well, because being on almost always is asking questions and going, and they're not always right, or maybe a lot of times not right, but they're asking questions and they're doing the work and looking into the data and trying to piece together to figure out what's going on, because at the end of the day, like, no matter what is going on, it's fucking weird. And the things that are presented to us always feel like there's a hidden layer. Even when it's coming straight from what could be Britney's mouth straight into her Instagram, it feels fucking coded. Like, why are we in this world? You know, it's like we're all paranoid now. So at least those people are asking questions instead of just saying, yes, girl, do your thing.
Yeah, I don't like it. And even like, you know, like the pole dancing video, I think we can look at it, analyze it without being jerks about it, and also without being like, yes, queen, yes. Like, you know, that pole video, I don't like people acting like she looked unhinged. Like, she was just fucking dancing on a pole. It's really pissing me off that people are like, cuckoo. But the one thing I will say is she seemed angry. I feel like that pole dance video does align with the narrative of she's single, she's at home. That
I was going to say the same thing. That was a revenge post, baby.
That was a revenge post. And I think the Brad Pitt was a revenge post. She posted that shit to make him jealous. I think she referred to him as a friend when she talked about the sisters doing Botox. Yes. I think Sam was the friend. And I think that even just looking at, you know, this is maybe an area I shouldn't go into, but I will for a minute. Like, in our minds for a minute, if we say, okay, we're Britney Spears, we're at home by ourselves. Sam has left for whatever reason, either a fight or whatever else. I'm by myself. She puts together the X pole, which I used to build those for a living. She could totally put that together by herself in 20 minutes, and sets up 3 mirrors and just starts dancing for herself. Like, normally, like, there's a lot of times where we see Kate or Sam or someone's holding the phone while she dances, right? Or we can hear them fucking weirdly breathing, like next to the phone.
Hated that.
But she put that on a tripod. She set up 3 mirrors, and she was doing her thing. Like, a lot of the times we see this same setup where it's the foyer of her, you know, the entryway of her house. She's spinning. It looks like somebody set her up there, and she's just spinning without fucking purpose. This didn't feel like that. This felt like she was having fun, videotaped it, and put it online, you know? And it's kind of frustrating that people just keep jumping to, like, she's fucking on meth again. It's just like, what? She's dancing. I'm very tempted to put my poll up this weekend and just, you know what I mean? That's why I do my spinning videos, is because people are like, she's crazy spinning. So I'm just like, and then I'm going to spin and be crazy too. You know what I mean? And if she's going to be, you know, feeling herself on a pole, I might start doing it too. And granted, like, am I completely convinced that she's okay? No. You know what I mean? But I also think we don't have to shame her pole dancers. You know what I mean? Like, no. There's nothing wrong with what she's doing.
No, I thought it was crazy the amount of fucking news coverage that got. I was like, are you kidding me? There is literally 200 articles about this, and it's really not a big deal. I can scroll TikTok all day long and see people doing beautiful pole dances, and it's art. Why is this different? Why is it because it's Britney, you have something nasty to say? But I'll say this. I didn't know at the time of seeing it that they had split up. And this obviously happened days ago, because in my opinion, by the time Sam was on this social media break, this was already in action, because that's why he went on social media break, in my opinion. So now this makes sense. This is a revenge post. And I don't know if you know this, but they're back in, I think July of, not this one, but the July before this, 2022, there were reports that they weren't getting along, and she posted a bunch of topless photos from the Westlake Village, and she was saying she was in Polynesia or London.
Oh, yeah.
And that there was reports later that said she showed up there by herself without Sam, and even in one of the videos, you can see her start to cry. Those were revenge photos for Sam, too. This is a pattern.
Which video do you see her start to cry? When she was dancing?
No, those from the Westlake Village when she's topless and she has like the cheetah bikini bottoms on.
Yeah.
There was, at one point she did like a little video, because she posted like 13 times that night. I mean, there was so many, but one of them was a little video, and she goes like this, and then her lip curls like, I put it in a video of mine.
Can you send it to me? Yeah, very interesting. Thank you so much for being here with us. This is the Britney Army Barracks. Until next time, stay Britney strong.